All right. Hello, folks. Welcome to our Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM live webinar. I'm Dana Torgersen, Director of Product Marketing with our Security Business Unit here at Sumo Logic. And I want to thank you for attending today. Quick housekeeping. This live webinar is being recorded, and I'll take some time at the end for any questions that you may have. And while I'm speaking, feel free to click the Q&A button in your webinar window and jot down your question. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Now, we've allotted 30 minutes, and I want to ensure I get you folks on to your next meeting on time. So with that, let's dive right in. This is talking about our Cloud SIEM aspects of SOC automation and analytics to help with your security workflows. But to really kick off that conversation, we really need to kind of dig into the challenges and the problems that a lot of folks, and maybe those of you attending, are facing. And that's that the SOC, or security operations, has to change. Now, we've seen that there's been this transformation to cloud and cloud adoption, and the spending for this adoption is growing at 6 times the pace of general IT spending. 3 out of 4 security teams agree that their cloud infrastructures generate more security alerts than similar on-prem environments. But legacy security tools and SIEMs weren't built for this cloud transformation, and it's resulted in more threat visibility gaps than ever before. Also, we see, when you think about the threat landscape, we see these shifts in the threat landscape. The migration of these apps to the cloud have shifted the landscape and created an explosion of attack surface. In fact, 67% of security professionals said that their increase in the number of security alerts stems from new and evolving threats, but 55% blame the increase of their threats and their alerts in the cloud infrastructure. And of course, unfortunately, with a simple misconfiguration can lead to a major data breach. And this attack surface explosion has been seen across mobile devices and the increase of IoT devices, multi-cloud environments, containerization, and modern applications like load balancing, VPC flows, CI/CD, and microservices as well. And that's before the global pandemic has hit. Now, of course, that has kind of exploded and shifted the threat landscape even further, with so many folks working from home around the globe, changing the attack surface in a way overnight. The last piece here too, another challenge, is this concept of alert fatigue and the fact that security operations is no longer a human scale problem. 83% of security teams report that their staff experience alert fatigue, and 75% of organizations determined that they would need to hire 3 or more analysts to conquer all of their daily alerts. But facing an ongoing resource and cybersecurity skill shortage means that you can't hire enough people to address and manually triage all of those alerts. There's simply too many alerts, and you can't get to them all. Plus, let's be honest, investigation processes are generally going to be slow and inefficient. It could take a day to create a dashboard to reflect one metric from just one tool, and organizations can't necessarily determine mean time to detect using their existing solutions, unfortunately. Also, we've seen that some customers and businesses out there have a lack of tool integrations with multiple consoles and alerts without correlation, false alerts, false positives. So I guess the bottom line that we're hearing from folks is that none of the traditional approaches, whether it's keeping your legacy SIEM going or outsourcing or hiring more experts, will work for the modern SOC. Organizations need to be able to, let me click here for you. Organizations need to be able to have a modern cloud SIEM to secure their cloud journey, make the changing, match the changing attack surface, and also bring innovation back to the SOC. Now, when we think about what that would come in, what does a complete cloud SIEM solution look like? This is actually how we view the world, and these are 6 differentiations that we bring to bear with Sumo Logic's Cloud SIEM solution. In the upper left-hand corner here, this first tile is describing really the key point of we're automatically generating actionable insights, and these aren't just prioritized alerts. And we're doing so by also enriching it with user and device and network context, which is crucial for investigations. And we do so all automatically. In the center top here, the fact that we are cloud native with a multi-tenant dynamic scalability. I should say petabyte cloud scale. And this is delivered efficiently at any scale, at any time for all of your users, regardless of where they are. Of course, this also brings with great economic benefits with our flexible licensing and data tiering as well as credits, puts the power and the control into our customers' hands on how they want to use this solution for their cloud SIEM. Also in the upper right-hand corner, we're delivering this central security log management or LMS tool or CLM. I know different folks use different terms. And we're able to do that capability with our platform across all these different users. And this is helping you consolidate tools. You're able to start to shrink down, and we've got customers that have been able to reduce that they were using a lightweight APM, they were using network traffic analysis, using the SIEM, using their log management solution, and bring all that stuff together while also making sure that more members of the overall team across the organization are all using the same data set, singing from the same songbook, if you will. Down in the lower left-hand corner here, this is really a better together story. The fact that we've been able to marry our deep roots in powerful search with our search interface, integrated with our highly tuned modern security interface. And this is what's allowing us to not only support the automated actionable insights that we're generating and surfacing to security analysts, but also be able to help improve the security operations workflows overall with a streamlined, purpose-built UI that actually walks folks through it. And of course, we have these ways of getting at the data that you need to, whether it's through our security interface or through our powerful search interface as well. Down in the bottom middle here, we kill at cloud native collection and the ability to detect across these new threat surfaces. That's what Sumo Logic is known for. And this is our backyard. And we're doing so because of all that, the challenges I mentioned before with hybrid cloud adoption and digital transformation efforts that are going on. And this is again where you can speak to the fact that we're offering petabyte cloud scale to be able to support the ingestion needs and the elasticity needs of the nature of bringing in cloud-based data, and also bringing in your on-prem data and hybrid cloud data as well, all into one single secure data lake, if you will. Lower right-hand corner here, speaking to the rapid time to value with our out-of-the-box content that we offer and this self-serve, easy to use, intuitive platform that helps you get up and running quickly. And we don't charge for the number of users that you want to have using the data. And so we make it very easy to with training and with certification courses that are available both online and we have offered it on site. We look forward to a day when we can get back to offering on site at Sumo Logic property and also at some of our customer properties, offering these cert jams in face-to-face settings. But this is what helps get folks up and running. This is the out-of-box content is what we're using with more than 400 content rules right out of the box to make sense of the data that we're ingesting in from your sources that you give to us. And before I go in, I just want to also mention that although today's focus is on our Cloud SIEM solution, Sumo Logic also has solutioning for audit and compliance, as well as security analytics. And when it comes to audit compliance, we've got our highly scalable secure platform I'm describing, but you can use it just to store all of your data. And that's backed by numerous certifications and attestations that we hold for the platform. And with a host of out-of-box pre-built compliance apps, you can actually enjoy rapid time to value for your security audits, believe it or not, along with flexible, efficient value-based licensing model. It enables you to economically establish compliance and occasionally search your data using our infrequent tiering. Security analytics in the middle here, this is building on the solutioning for compliance. We offer security analytics with the power of performing deep searches against your data set. Plus, we offer the foundational correlation against your and alerting required against your data set for analyzing your security event logs, along with data enrichment and visualization of your data using our pre-built and customizable dashboards. Plus, there's tons other in here. I mean, threat feed integration with our included CrowdStrike threat intelligence feed, machine learning technology, log reduce, log compare, and community threat benchmarking with our global intelligence service with AWS Guard Duty and AWS CloudTrail, helping you to understand how you stack up with your threat posture against those of other anonymized Sumo Logic customer data that are also coming out of AWS Guard Duty and also out of CloudTrail. So let me click on here. And at this point, I'd love to flip over and show you the actual Cloud SIEM security interface. So and walk you through basically a day in the life of using Sumo Logic to your advantage. Let me flip over, and I've got a browser right here. All right, what you're looking at now is our security interface for Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM. At a quick glance, there's a lot going on here, I realize, and a lot of customers like to show this on their wall of their SOC or the Security Operations Center, and make sure everybody's on the same page and can get quick status, like the different sensors that are running. This is normally populated in a production environment with every single different collector or sensor that is running and bringing data into it. As you can see, it's automatically updating. I don't have to click anything or hit the space bar. We're pushing updates dynamically. Upper left-hand corner, I can see with today's date, October 28th, 2020, I'm looking at a one-day view of the data coming through and being correlated with our Cloud SIEM solution. I can see basically in a nutshell that we've brought in a bunch of raw records in. I could look at it also through 3-day view if you'd like. Let me refresh the data here. Here we go. What I'm able to see is that I've brought in 9 million records in the last 3 days. And this is down by about 1% in the 3 days prior. And those records are all the data, the structured and unstructured data that you've brought into Sumo Logic that we've helped automatically parse and map into normalized records. And then from those records, we have our technology is actually creating signals, firing these signals, which actually then is effectively an enriched alert, if you will. And in this case, we've got 222,000 of those signals in the last 3-day period, which also seems to be down by about 1% or so. Now, this is exactly where a lot of traditional legacy SIEMs will stop. They will have gotten you to these notable events. Some technologies, I realize, will try to go farther and get even more fidelity in the alerts to whittle it down. But now you're having to do a lot of required rule stacking and trying to throw additional machine learning technologies at it. And this is all because these tools are not getting and capturing the actual unknown threat data. And so this is where it generally leaves your security analysts having to do filtering and you throwing a bunch of level 1 analysts at the problem. But as I mentioned before, analysts are expensive, they're hard to come by, training them is difficult, and there's just this shortage of not enough bodies to help do the work that's necessary. So what we're able to do here is take those signals and move that in a direction of giving you what we refer to these actionable insights. So we're taking 221,000 signals and we're boiling those down to 16 of these opinionated views, if you will, of critical incidents that we believe you need to be investigating immediately. And we show those insights to you in the form of a little triangle. And that's what shows up in the center mass here in our insight radar. So I'll walk you through that. If we've got 9 million records in 3 days, here they are. In the blue line are the records showing the ebbs and flows of ingestion, the peaks and the valleys, going around from top dead center at 12 o'clock position, clockwise around. That's 3 days worth of data. Same with the signals that we generated, 221,000 signals in 3 days. Here they are, and they emanate and radially outwards with each one as I hover, looking like it's about a 1 hour breakdown as we go around 3 days worth of those signals that we can see. Similarly, working clockwise around from top dead center, I'm seeing the play out of all these insights. Now, green is indicating insights that have actually been worked by a team member, have been actively investigated, and then closed. Icons that show up, triangles that show up as orange, indicate ones that are actually being working in progress. And that is how you can organize that in our event management page, which I'll show you shortly. Items that show up as white indicate an insight that is in an other stage. And we allow you to custom create and label the different stages of insight progress. And so this is clearly an insight that came in on October 26th, somewhere between 5 and 6:30 p.m. And that insight is actually probably being worked on. It's just in a category other than in progress. It's a custom category. And finally, you see these red triangles. These are insights that are new. These have not been taken ownership yet. These have not been moved into by one of the team members as an in progress or other, and it hasn't been closed yet. So really, from a CISO and SOC director and VP of security's mentality, using a solution like this, with managing a team below you, you're going to be saying, hey, let's flip those insights from red to green. Let's work on that. And so this is giving you a quick, instant glance as to the progress of your team, and operationally speaking. We also have information over on the right-hand side here indicating insight activity. This is surfacing the most recent insight, as well as chatter and comments going back and forth between team members. But let me drill down and show you really what a day in the life looks like. That an analyst is going to be coming into the insights page. Remember before I mentioned that there's different custom categories like special operations, spec ops, tier 3. You could have tier 2. You could have response incident handlers tier. And you're able to just move and drag and drop these in our event management page as you move along here. And this is exactly what is happening, that I've got 9 new. It looks like I've got one particular insight in a tier 3. Closed is showing 0, but that's because the default filter turned on, because why look at the past when this, why look at the work that you've done? Excuse me, I can turn that filter off. And there we go. I've got 1,494 actions and insights that my team has finished and worked on. But I don't need to focus on that. I want to focus on what's new. So as you're drilling down here, there's all these different tiles representing an insight, and they're in the new category. This is a Kanban view. There's also a table list view if you'd prefer. Different people, like different ways of looking at their data and information. We've tried to make the product as flexible as we can to cater to different needs, in which case this gives you a more full screen, full width of the screen view with date stamps, severity, the entity that's involved. We attach an entity, which could be an IP address, URL, host name, to every single signal and insight that is created. This is what allows us to be able to tie everything together with our data that you've brought in. So when I'm looking at new, I could be glancing to all these different insights, each one with a uniquely generated name, so it's easy to reference, as well as the tactics, the techniques, and the procedures that were used in this particular insight. And if I just grab one and I click on it, I can drill down, and now I'm actually in the insight. I'm looking at the details of this particular insight. This one is insight 1496, representing looks like initial access and persistence. At the top on the right here, I'm seeing a timeline view of how this particular insight played out. From left to right is time as it's passing. And then vertically, I'm going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 severity level, all the way up to a severity level of 9 or 10 at the top. So right off the bat, I'm getting a sense that over a period of time that these signals were firing, and these different icons represent the signals. And each signal was created based on a rule that triggered it. And the shape and the color matters in the fact that these blue diamonds are rules. Sometimes this little teal icon represents any anomaly rule that was fired. We also have threat intelligence with purple pentagons. Pentagram, what the? Purple pentagons is what we've got for threat intelligence, as well as any third-party rule that you could customize and configure would show up when triggered as a signal that is a yellow square, maybe yellowish, orangish square. So I could hover over these signals and get a glance, but you can see down below, I'm also highlighting the signals that are being shown to me as they played out in order. I can change the order, I can change and filter based on the name, the severity, the stage, but this is in chronological order how it played out. In this particular case, it looks like it's a phishing attack. I've got a proof point tap solution where the user, it's flagged to me that the user received an email with a phishing link. That's not great. I can see who the recipient was of that email, categorized as a severity 4. Then it looks like a checkpoint solution. A module for their firewalls, the threat emulation, says that a malicious file was allowed through. Okay, and we can see the source device IP address and the destination IP address. You can see we're mapping off the source device, which is effectively, I guess, the victim in this situation. And that's the entity that we've attached to. Then threat intelligence came through with the device IP matched to threat intelligence file hash that we already had. And this is tied into that CrowdStrike threat intelligence feed that is included with our product. And then finally, an actual CrowdStrike endpoint detection. So in this situation, the customer actually pays for CrowdStrike Falcon and it's running on their endpoints, and the detection summary event fired. And this is what made a determination. These elements in this time frame, our algorithm deduced that this is definitely needs to be an insight, and it triggered. And we can be looking at these signals going back to 30 days, not just 24 hours or 72 hours like other solutions on the market. So this is very powerful. And I want to now drill further down into, if I know that this is an insight or an incident that matters and it looks valid, of course I'm going to investigate it. So I switch over to my investigative hat. Now I'm drilling down into these different signals to validate them. I get to see a description of what was actually making up that signal. Event time severity, metadata is captured. Here's the actual rule that triggered, as well as the MITRE attack stage of the MITRE attack framework of where this falls in that overall process of an attacker. This is the initial access stage. The rule that triggered, one click, and I can go see details of the rule. It was apparently a match rule, was the rule type, versus our chain rules and aggregation rules and other rule types that we offer. We can also see a quick glance of all the days of the recent months and days of the week when this was firing. In a production environment, you probably wouldn't have it filling out every day, but I think this is an artifact of how our demo is set up, our demo environment, because we want to repeat this and have this process available for our demonstration to prospects and to customers. You would probably have a couple of teal boxes filled out here when it was actually triggering. You can see and edit the rule. Like, if it's triggered, the record matches this particular expression, then go do this, create the signal, give it this description. Here's the stage as initial access for the MITRE attack framework. Got little helper tabs, little help buttons, all throughout the product to help you along the way, get you up and running quickly, as I mentioned before. You can set the severity. Is it dynamic or is it fixed? In which case, then you can have your slider from 1 through 10 as to the severity. You can find out who's been making this rule or who's last edited it. You can see which insights have been fired from it. You can see which signals have been fired as well. And it looks like there's 143. But let me pull back here, because what we were doing is we were focusing on this one particular signal, and I can see all the records, the normalized records that made up this signal as well. In this case, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Oftentimes in a production environment, it's one signal made up of dozens or even maybe hundreds of records, especially if there's some redundant records coming through that are repeated messages or alerts. And that's what then you're able to understand here and go deeper. I could export it as a CSV file, as a JSON file if I want, look at the full details. Maybe I want to see it in a raw log format. Again, we've got different ways of looking at data flow for folks the way that they are used to looking at the data, whether you want full details or abbreviated view. And then there's the power of actually going deeper and pivoting on something. Like in this case, this victim's IP address of 192.168.38.102. By hovering over different elements throughout the security interface here, I can see these little 6 dots. We call those context actions, of course. One click, a left click, not a right click, but a left click brings up this pre-built search natively for across all the records on that particular IP address or whatever the element is that I want to search deeper on. Plus, I can have all these other customizable actions set up to go check things on, see what recorded future has to say, see what virus total has to say on this particular item, or do just a classic Google web search. This is where you can put all the tools and the tricks and the tradecraft that you normally use and put it right in here. So you don't have to be cracking open a bunch of web browser tabs. You could use this as your launching point in your investigation. But in particular, maybe I want to search all the records across our entire search interface here of the Cloud SIEM solution. And now I'm actually looking at a day, literally a day in the life. This is a 24-hour period. And I can start to now just visually see the outliers of records that were coming through on this particular IP address for 24 hours. And here's the proof. I mean, if I've got 3,000 authentication events that have been happening, and then all of a sudden I get one outlier, like a single endpoint record, and I got an email record, that again helps me realize that, yeah, this is definitely an issue that's going on. I could go deeper and define just what that endpoint record is. But let me pull back again, because what I wanted to finish with is when you've done this diligence and you've investigated and validated that these signals that are all making up this one insight are valid, you're going to want to take action on this insight. You're going to want to respond. Now, some insights, if you want, you could set up automated response actions, and that could be set up in the product under this little gear icon over here. But also, you can set up on-demand actions that the administrator or the user, like I am right now, I can just click on actions, and I can choose to maybe send an email for this insight off to a couple of members of my team. Maybe there's a Slack channel, or maybe I'm using Slack with scripting and automation to execute other actions. Maybe send it off to ServiceNow with our integration, or over to maybe Phantom or Recorded Future, or even just a simple notification with AWS. These actions are ready for you. You can click on it, execute the action, and then it runs. Now, this whole time I've been working on this, maybe I want to assign it to myself. Okay, Dana Torgersen, I own this insight, so I'm working it. Now my manager, my CISO, everybody knows who's on what. And I also see the dwell time of this insight, the event time, but because I'm taking this action and I'm punting it to another group, or I'm alerting other folks or the incident handling team, I could be making some tags. I could be saying phishing is a tag. This was a phishing attack. And I could say, let's adjust our firewall rules to cover this use case. Something that I'm going to leave a comment for others that we're coming back to this of this snapshot in time. But when I'm done, it's time to close the insight. So I click close. I choose the resolution of that it was truly resolved. Maybe it was a false positive, possibly, yeah. Maybe no action is needed, or it was actually a duplicate, and this is maybe a recurring insight that you've already addressed and you've covered it before. You don't need to keep being reminded of that, so you're going to close that out. Basically, you close out the insight, and then it moves it to the closed bucket back where you were in your main insights. And I, as an analyst, I get right into the next one. We've streamlined this process and automated so many things on the back end, like the enrichments of user data and device data and network information, traffic data coming from our Zeek sensor that you can install and grok all that traffic metadata and do file carving and use Yara rules that you download from GitHub to apply and run in our Yara engine to actually scan files that we store in S3 buckets. There's so much stuff I'm not even getting into here, into the details of the solution. But that's effectively a day in the life. Effectively, that's 15 seconds to 30 seconds, crushing through these insights. You still have the power of digging into all those signals if you've got the time. But first, we always want folks to focus in on those insights. We've done this extra work. You've invested in the solution. This is what we're doing uniquely across all SIEM solutions out there. Take up the advantage of this to be able to get to what matters. These are our opinionated views of threats that matter most. So with that, let me flip back again. And I think this is full screen still here. Obviously, I've been showing you how the Cloud SIEM solution can help improve your workflows and eliminate noise from thousands of alerts flooding every day. But it's not just about the technology. It's not just knobs and switches, but it's the people, the bodies, the folks that are there ready to support you when you need it most. And Sumo Logic provides professional services to get you up and running, onboarded quickly. We offer premium support with dedicated technical account managers and advanced onboarding support, along with success plan planning and execution. But also at the tip of the pyramid here, we also have our special operations team. This is our elite team of threat hunters, cybersecurity analysts from top organizations and agencies in the world. And they're available on demand when you need them. This could be used as a force multiplier for your own existing team, or to help you mentor your team that you have with the latest deep knowledge of the threat landscape. So that's another thing I wanted to make sure that you were aware of as well. With that, let me pause here and see if there are any questions that we've got out there. All right, I've got a couple questions. First one is Cloud SIEM a separate product? Well, good question. Our Cloud SIEM solution is available only as an add-on to our core Sumo offering, and we call that our continuous intelligence platform. Now, I see that we've got some existing customers attending today. What's great for you folks is you can just talk to your Sumo Logic account manager and discuss your upcoming security initiatives and use cases to see if adding our Cloud SIEM Enterprise product, which helps deliver our full suite of functionality, find out that's right for your needs. But for those of you that are attending today who are actually new to Sumo Logic, of course, I say welcome to you. You would simply deploy our platform with Cloud SIEM enabled and enjoy all the security use cases that we address, in addition to all of the operations intelligence and business intelligence monitoring and observability use cases that we cover for folks in DevOps and IT ops. This gets back to what I mentioned earlier, which is the fact that we've built a platform, not just like a SIEM, like a fishbowl for 5 or 10 folks to work in, and that's their domain. No, it's an open platform that you can use across the different groups. So great question. Another question here regarding the Kanban view for insights. Is there integration into Jira specifically for automatically creating or updating tickets? If so, is it bidirectional? Updates made in Sumo Logic will update to the Jira ticket and vice versa. I'm going to have to actually check on that. Michael, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I know that we've got unidirectional and we have bidirectional integrations with different groups. One of them I was showing there was ServiceNow. I want to check on Jira and make sure we can get an answer back to you accurately. Let's see, we've got maybe time for another question here. Let's see if there's any others here. There's a couple talking about, okay, there's a couple talking about money cost. So for any pricing questions, I would rather you speak with our Sumo Logic sales account manager or your authorized Sumo reseller. But for now, if you want, I mean, you can head to sumologic.com/pricing. There you'll see the different packages that we offer, and we've got an interactive tool to see how our credits-based model is set up and how it can provide economic transparency and flexibility that's unique to our Cloud SIEM in the market, actually. Well, with that, I think I've taken enough of your time, folks. Let me wrap with making sure that I thank you for your attendance. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to seeing you folks again. This was one live webinar in a series of webinars going on this week. And of course, we also repeat this monthly. So I encourage you to check out the rest of our materials coming up tomorrow and also the day after. And if not, go back to sumologic.com in our events page, and you can actually look for and register for the next upcoming webinar that you'd like to attend. With that, again, I'm Dana Torgersen, Director of Product Marketing here at Sumo Logic. Thank you for your time and have a great day.